Back at it again, and apparently this led to Don Lemon getting fired, allegedly. Like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button if you are new. If you would like to help me out even further, too, watch this video to the very end. Helps out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm when you watch it to the end. So I greatly would appreciate it, all right? Let's dive in.
Joining us now, a frequent guest on Fox News, Republican presidential candidate and tech entrepreneur, Vivek Ramaswamy. So we are happy to have you on. I'm going to talk to you more than just about Fox News, but good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Glad to be
here. What
here.
do you make of this decision to settle this case?
I mean, it strikes me as a cost of doing business. If you're going to be a news network, I think it's happened to CNN. I think it's happened to a lot of news networks.
That has not
it's a cost of
happened to
doing
CNN.
business.
It's not happened to CNN. This is
Never
the
been sued for
largest-
defamation. Never been actually settled.
This is the largest
it's definitely
in
large,
history.
and Fox appears to have the largest viewership and the market capitalization. So I'm not familiar with the details of this case. I'm actually more interested in issues relating to this country than disputes with media companies. But I will say that it strikes me that from
But you're
CNN
not familiar,
to Fox News.
You're not familiar with the case. You're not familiar with the lies about the 2020 election, about the election being stolen, that Dominion was somehow, fixing the votes. I mean, that's why they $787.5 million. You're not familiar with that? And you're running for president?
The details of a private dispute between a commercial dispute and the details of what the dollar figures are, that's not where I spend. That's really not where I spend my time. But what I will say is, look, there's defamation cases. People settle businesses. If you settle business disputes, Fox settled this one. It's actually not, I think, the pressing issue for the nation of what Fox News' settlement is.
I disagree with that because as you just admitted, you said Fox is the largest viewership, one of the largest viewerships among television networks and especially cable networks, considering the eyes, the American people who are tuning in to Fox News to get their information and to get it accurately. I'm surprised that you would say that you're not concerned about this and this is not something that is hugely pressing for the American people.
Here's the way I look at it.
Freedom of the
I mean, Fox ain't perfect. We all know that, right? But I'd rather watch Fox than CNN any day of the week and twice on Sunday, including MSNBC. I can't even say the network. Goodness gracious, I don't want to watch them either. You know, right? So I think that says a lot that people are still watching Fox, or were watching Fox even after that, and not going to CNN. Have fun, Don Lemon. Have fun.
press is the First Amendment in the Constitution.
Oh, exactly. You nailed it. The freedom of the press. So we have CNN, we have Fox. I'm here with you guys. I go on Fox News. I think that's great that we have a marketplace of ideas in this country. What I worry more about, Don, is the trend that we see in this country to controlling what different parties are actually able to say. The American way to bad speech is more speech. And so I think we need to actually embrace that culture and a more diverse marketplace of ideas. That's something we haven't done well enough in this country.
With all honesty, you're not answering the question. You're giving us platitudes about...
I'm actually unsure what your question is, Don. Do you want somebody to bash Fox News on CNN?
No, I'm not
if that does
asking
you
you to
favors,
bash
then I'd be happy to do that.
I'm not asking you to bash Fox News. I'm asking you to be honest about what happened on Fox News, about the lies that were told and them having to admit the lies and paying the largest defamation settlement to a media company in history, and you are a frequent guest on that network. Are you concerned about the credibility? Are you going to continue to go on that network even with those credibility issues?
I have far more concerns with the credibility of what we will call the mainstream media than I do with the credibility of Fox News. But
Fox is the mainstream media.
At the end of the day, what I say is, look, neither you nor I know the details because they settled it before it went to trial. I think the obsession over this is a little weird.
Vivek, listen,
it's a little bizarre.
I don't want to get into that.
There's real issues to talk about in the country. Why are we talking about Fox News and a settlement?
This is a...
He is stuck on this Fox thing. Just stuck on it. Stuck. Oh, I gotta bash Fox. I gotta bash Fox. And you're still not gonna get any good ratings. Oh, as a matter of fact, you don't have any ratings anymore.
Very big and important story. And I'm not going to, we have much more that we want to talk
I think we should.
about, but we will get there when we're ready to get there. We have you on to talk about these issues. This is a very important issue and it should not be downplayed. This has to do with American democracy and Americans learning the truth about what happened in the 2020 election.
You want to know what?
You don't think that's important?
I hear a lot about
comparing it to CNN is not. This apples and oranges. It's not the same thing.
Well, it's different networks. Yes, apples aren't the same as oranges. You get one view through CNN, you get a different view through Fox News. I think it's
bro. Vivek is too smooth with the comebacks, man. Too smooth, man. Vivek 2028, baby. Vivek 2028. Forget Ron DeSanctimonious, Ron Disloyal DeSantis. Ron, I'll never vote for him, DeSantis. Forget about him. His political career is over as far as I'm concerned. Vivek 2028, baby. I need to get some shirts going. Vivek 2028. Right? I'm rocking with Vivek. I'm rocking with this guy.
Good in our marketplace of ideas is that we have media that offers diverse perspectives. And you want to talk about threats to our democracy? One of the threats, and that phrase is an interesting one, threats to our democracy. I think one of the biggest ones is the chilling effect on speech in our country more broadly, where if somebody says something that a broad segment of the population or certain people in the government disagree with, there's an increasing trend in our country to silence that. And the answer to bad speech and alleged misinformation is not less speech. It is more speech in the marketplace of ideas. That's actually what a free press really means.
We're going to move on, but your answer was good, but it's not about what's actually happening. It's not relevant to what's happening. I think the answer to what happened at Fox News is to tell the truth. Media companies are tasked with telling the truth. That did not happen in the situation, and that's why we're asking these questions. But let's move on.
Let's talk more about a diverse exchange of ideas. That's what I'm in for. Thank you.
Glad you're here this morning. Your campaign slogan is a new American dream, and I was reading through your platform last night. I wonder what you would do specifically to actually bring us together, not just Republicans and Democrats. What does unity look like to you, Vivek, for rich and poor, for rural and urban, for Republicans and Democrats?
That is the right question to be asking. And I think the main divide in this country, and I say this to conservative audiences equally, is not between Republicans and Democrats. It is between those of us who are pro-American, embracing the ideals that set this country into motion, and I think an increasing strain in this country that is anti-American, that wishes to apologize for a nation founded on those ideals. But that's not a 50-50 split. I think most people are in the pro-American camp. And Poppy, I think one of the ways they would say we get to national unity, some people think, is by showing up in the middle and compromising. I respect that view, but I reject it.
You reject compromise?
I reject compromising on our principles. I think that the right way to get to national unity, and I mean this, to unite this country, is by embracing actually the radicalism of the American ideals themselves. We celebrate our diversity and differences. I'm glad we have some 3 different shades of melanin on this set right now, 2 different genders. That's fine, but what I say is, so what? That diversity is meaningless unless there's something greater that binds us together, that unites us across that diversity. And I'm running for president to revive those ideals that bind us together across our diverse attributes.
I want to get into a few issues, one of them being China. Before I get to China, I just want to better understand something you said this week speaking before the audience at the NRA. Here's what you said, referring to back to 1865. Here it was.
Yeah, I noticed they didn't address what he just said because he gave the perfect answer.
I want you to raise your hand if you know when the first anti-gun laws were passed in this country. Raise your hand if you do. 1865. You want to know when it happened? We fought a civil war in this country to give black Americans the equal protection under the law that we failed to secure them in 1776. But then you want to know what happened? Southern states passed anti-gun laws that stopped black people from owning guns. The Democrat Party, then as in now, wanted to put them back in chains.
Then as in now, that's quite an accusation about the current Democratic Party. Who and what were you referring to?
I was referring to Joe Biden and his expression of wanting to put them back in chains, dating back to Lyndon Johnson. I think Lyndon Johnson's so-called Great Society was one of the greatest misnomers in American political history, where even back then in the 1960s, 70% plus of black kids were born into 2-parent homes. Today, that number is less than 30% in the opposite direction. The very policies that we implemented in this country in the name of helping black Americans have actually been disastrous for black Americans and all Americans. And I think that that's something that we need to wake up to.
In 1865, you were talking about the black codes, right?
That's right.
Passed, enacted to make it a crime for a black person to carry a gun in the South. But you're equating that to the current president? You're referring to economic chains? What are you saying?
Well, I was referring to Joe Biden's, I think, ill-chosen expression to say they're the party that wants to put you back into chains. What I'm actually saying is that if you look at the policies of the modern Democratic Party.
About Democrats.
Absolutely. So what I'm saying is that actually it's policies like that of Lyndon Johnson and Joe Biden that are actually holding black Americans back.
Lyndon Johnson's the war on poverty?
Yes, and in particular his Great Society, where He actually created incentives in the family where if you're a family, you could actually get more money by not having the father in the home. Guess what you get? You get what you pay for. And I think it's been really bad for the black community. I think it's really bad for all Americans.
Bro, it baffles me how these, mainstream personalities, mainstream media, these leftist Democrats all try to deny the facts. Just look at the statistics. Look at the statistics before this situation happened and look at them afterwards. They just refuse to do it. Oh, Democrats can't be blamed for anything. Nothing was the Democrats' fault. It's all Republicans. Republicans are just a horrible, terrible, no good, very bad people. Democrats have never done anything bad. Stop it. Stop it. I mean, and actually, you know what? I'm kind of happy that mainstream media continues to do this because it only continues to discredit them. The more people that, watch these videos and get informed about the truth of what's actually happened and going on, the more that they discredit themselves. And shout out to every one of you that share my videos with people because it's you that truly help discredit these mainstream media outlets who continue to push this terrible narrative, right? I'm only one person. Yes, I can make the video, put it together, drop it on YouTube, but it's you guys that help give it the traffic that it gets through liking, through watching it to the end, through sharing it with folks. So shout out to you guys, man. Hey, listen, without you, this narrative doesn't get any pushback, right? I mean, yes, I could push back on it, but it means nothing if nobody's viewing it, if nobody's liking it or commenting or sharing it, right? I could drop the video all day long, but that means nothing. So give yourselves a pat on the back for helping to dismantle this narrative as well. This stuff is just getting ridiculous, man, and it's I'm happy that there is pushback and there are a lot of people waking up to the truth because, as you can see, they're continuing to try to push this BS.
What do you have anything on this before I move on to China?
I don't see what one has to do with the other, but go on. I took up a lot of time with Fox.
Oh, it's fine. We have time.
I don't really see what one has to do with the other, especially consider and using the Civil War to talk about black Americans. That war was not fought for black people to have guns. That's not.
That war was fought for black people to have freedoms in this country. Yeah. Actually, that's why the Civil War was fought.
Okay.
And the sad part about it.
That wasn't fought for black people to have guns. I think.
Actually, you don't know funny.
Freedoms includes owning guns. Bingo. So technically, he's right.
Fact is, black people did not get to enjoy the other freedoms until their Second Amendment rights were secured. And I think that's one of the lessons that we learned.
Still aren't allowed to enjoy the freedoms.
I disagree with you on that, Don. I disagree with you. And I think you're doing a disservice to our country by failing to recognize the fact that we have equality before the law.
And you live in this country, then you can disagree with me. But we're not. You mentioned that there are three different shades of melanin.
Don, I think we have to be able to talk about these issues.
Oh, my. There they go. Oh, when you're black, then you can debate me. The famous line of someone who doesn't have a comeback. Oh, when you're my same skin color or my same ethnicity, then you could speak. Stop it. Stop it.
Failing to recognize the fact that we have equality before the law.
And you live in this country, then you can disagree with me. But we're not. You mentioned that there are three different shades of melanin.
Don, I think we have to be able to talk about these issues in the open, regardless of the color of our skin. Black Americans today, to say that, compare that to 1865 and 1964,
I think for you to compare it to 1865 and 1964
is
actually, I think it's insulting to black people. It's insulting to me as an African American. I don't want to sit here and argue with you because it's infuriating for you to put those things together. It's not right. Your telling of history is wrong. What
part of the history was wrong?
What part of the history was wrong? That the Civil War was fought. You're making people think that the Civil War was fought for black people, only for black people to get guns and for black people to have.
The Civil War was fought for black people in this country to get freedoms, a noble mission. And I think
for the second time he said that.
Even after we succeeded, we had to actually secure those freedoms.
To reduce it in a speech at the NRA to say you're making people think. Or you're trying to say that black people to get guns. That was the reason that you're there at the NRA. That was the reason for the Civil War.
It
I
is
think
a
that's
fact.
reductive.
It's not
and
reductive,
I think it's
Don.
insulting. There are a whole plethora of reasons for the Civil War.
With due respect, I find your explanation reductive and actually insulting, including to black Americans, to say that black people today, compared to 1964, 1865, haven't made progress in part because of the freedoms we secured. And the Second Amendment was
Black
part
people,
of what secured
hang on,
that
please.
freedom.
I cannot keep a thought if you guys are talking to me in my ear. So hang on one second. So to say that black people, say what you said again.
Black people secured their freedoms after the Civil War. It is a historical fact, Don. Just study it. Only after their Second Amendment rights were secured.
They
That's
were
a
not
fact.
secured their freedoms after the Civil War. That is not. You are discounting Reconstruction. You're discounting a whole host of things that happened after the Civil War when it comes to African Americans, including the whole reason that the Civil Rights Movement happened is because black people did not secure their freedoms after the Civil War, and that things turned around. People tried to change the freedoms that were supposed to
And you know
happen
how they
after the
got
Civil
it?
War
They got their
and
Second Amendment
Reconstruction.
rights, and they actually got the NRA played a big role in that. But today, Don, the
NRA did not play a big role
absolutely,
in
they
that.
trained
That
black Americans
is
how to
a
use
lie.
firearms.
That's a lie.
But
That's not. The
it's
NRA
actually-
did not play a big role in
This
that.
is just historical fact. But
It's
Don,
not historical fact.
the part that I
Just
find
because you say it's historical
the
fact,
part that
it's
I
not
find
historical
insulting is when you say today black Americans don't have those rights after we have gone through civil rights revolution in this country.
You are sitting here telling an African American about the rights and what you find insulting about the way I live, the skin I live in every day.
Here's where you and I
know
have
the
a different
freedoms
point
that
of view.
black and white that black people don't have in this country, and that black people do have.
Well, here's where you and I have a different point of view. I think we should be able to express our views regardless of the color of our skin. We should have this debate
I'm not saying you
without
shouldn't
me
express your
regarding
views,
you as a
but I think
black
it's
man.
insulting that
but
you're-
me
That's exactly what you said. Goodness gracious.
regarding you
Sitting
as
here,
a fellow citizen.
That you're
That's what I
sitting
think we
here,
should see.
whatever ethnicity you are, explaining to me
Whatever ethnicity I am,
about
I'll
what
tell
it's
you-
like to be black in
Whatever
America.
ethnicity I am,
I'm
I'll tell
sorry.
you what I am. I'm an Indian American. I'm proud of it. But I think we should have this debate. Black, white, doesn't matter.
I think we should have this
on
debate.
the
but I think
content
you should-
of the
if you're
ideas.
going to do it, you should do it in an honest way and in a
I
fair
think-
way. And what you're doing is not an honest and fair way. Okay?
With-
but we
with-
appreciate you coming on.
With
Thank
due
you for
respect,
that.
Don, I look forward to
Thank you very
continuing
much.
that
I appreciate
conversation.
it. We'll
Thank
continue
you.
the conversation.
Thank you
you so much.
Thank you, Papa.
We'll talk about China.
Yes, let's talk about China.
Goodness gracious. What a sad. Oh my. Black people aren't free. Matter of fact, let's take a look and see what Don Lemon net worth is. Don Lemon net worth. First thing that pops up, $12 million. Around he earned a salary of around $4 million each year from CNN, allegedly. So once again, if that's what black people not having freedom looks like, sign me up. Sign me up. Making $4 million a year, man, I wish. I wish. If that's what black oppression looks like, $4 million a year, $12 million net worth, hey, he blowing some cash too. Goodness gracious. How long did he work at CNN? I guess it depends on how long he worked at CNN. If he was working there for some years, for many years, making $4 million a year, he was blowing some cash. But anyway. Like I said, if that's what black oppression looks like, sign me up, coach, because I'll take a $4 million a year salary. I mean, like, don't get it twisted. Like, $4 million is $4 million, Woo! $4 million, a net worth of $12 million. Must be nice. Must be nice. I need some more black oppression. I really do. I need some more. I need some more of that. But anyway, it really does sadden me to see, black folks like this get on TV and cry and complain about, oh, the black oppression, black people aren't free, especially, very, very well off folks like Don himself, right, that are telling young black people that they're oppressed and they're always going to be oppressed. It's a bad message to send. One, because it isn't true, right? It's illegal to discriminate against someone based on race. That's illegal. You got a lawsuit coming if that is the case. So let me know where you see it at, because I will apply there myself. All right. I will, apply for housing or apply for the job, wherever it's happening. Let me know, because, I'm trying to get to that $12 million net worth, and that's the only way I'm going to get there. Okay. But it's really, really sad to see that, because you're essentially destroying black people yourself by pushing this terrible narrative. That tells black people, oh, there's no way that you're ever going to rise out of the situation you're in. What message does that send? Hopelessness. Hopelessness. Where you see the most hopelessness, you see the most poverty, crime, and the most terrible things that, humanity could, come up with in those areas. If people have no hope, they don't care about going to jail. They don't care about, taking somebody's life, or, this stuff, man. And look at these liberal cities. Just look at them. The recent situation in New York, you had a gentleman who was literally riding around on a moped, blasting people. Boom. Actually took the life of an elderly gentleman. I believe he was like 86 or 87. Just shot him in the back. Cold. Right on the sidewalk. I mean, the guy's riding down the street on a moped, just randomly firing at people. What the actual? If that, now I don't know who this gentleman is, what his situation is. But stuff like that doesn't happen where people actually have hope of becoming what they dream of becoming. In my humble opinion, if people have actual hope, hey, I can make it out of this situation, right? I can become who I dream of becoming. I can be that successful entrepreneur. I could, be a successful plumber, whatever it is. People don't resort to that type of BS. People don't resort to the B&E, breaking and entering, if you don't know what B&E is, situations, right? People don't resort to that because they can see, oh, I can make it. But when you got people like Don Lemon pushing this terrible narrative, then people go and do stuff like that, in my humble opinion. But who am I? I'm just another small YouTuber just making some videos from time to time. But as always, y'all let me know your thoughts and your opinions on this in the comment section below. Thank you for watching to this point. Greatly appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button on your way out. And make sure you subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on. It's the bell button that is next to it, all right? And if you're feeling froggy, all right, hop on over to my website, DocRichClothing.com, and go and buy some of that merch, all right? Peace and love. I'm out.